Hi, Paul, and hi, everybody else who's listening to GF International Solutions on our YouTube channel. Our special guest today is a fellow Durhamite, if I can say that. Is that a word, Paul?
Sounds it. Yeah, definitely is now.
Yeah, we always have to go from my Loughborough days to my Durham days, and we'll have the discussions about purple and Palatin. In fact, my university in the States was also purple as well, or a former purple. So I think I've kept it in the family. So how are you finding Durham?
Well, firstly, hi everyone. Hi Graham. I'm third year now at Durham, so clearly I like it enough to stay on, and I'm really enjoying it. Very strange this year with the restrictions, and it's not quite the usual Durham buzz. That especially at the start of the year, you've got a new team, new teammates, fixtures every week, so it's not quite the same as it usually is. But hopefully, in the new year, maybe if a vaccine comes, we can get back to some sort of normality and get some matches played.
Yeah, that would be really nice. And if I talk about your pathway in terms of where you came from, because obviously you came to Durham as a postgrad from a couple of years in the States. Should we go about how did you get to the States in the first place? Because that's certainly a pathway a lot of British tennis players and British sports people have taken over the last decade or so.
Yeah, and as you said, a lot of British tennis players now go to America and have done for a while, like you. I think you would have been one of the first trendsetters there. But for my generation, definitely a lot of older boys that I trained with growing up or played against in juniors went to America. So for me, it was quite easy to see that pathway to basically playing professional tennis, but with the safety of an education and also the facilities and everything paid for, and travel and all that all taken care of. Whereas if you go full time on the tour, you're on your own. So that's appealing, especially if you're not ready to go full time or don't want to go full time tennis. So really kind of looking up at the older guys who went before me to the States while I was still at high school. And then really it was just about choosing the right fit for me. So contacting the coach. And when I got in touch with Dartmouth, where I ended up going, the great Chris Drake was the head coach there. He ex-pro player, really good CV, great team atmosphere as well. I went to visit the summer before I committed. And just really liked the team atmosphere. The indoor facility was unbelievable, new outdoor courts, and just chose based on the feel of the campus as well, similar to how anyone would do the process here, just what feels right. And Dartmouth was the one I ended up choosing for 4 years for undergrad.
Nice. Well, first of all, thank you very much for saying trendsetter. I think that translates as really old. But you're right. There wasn't many of us around when I first went over there about 400 years ago, as I always say. Ross Matheson was probably the only other player of any kind of standard who was out there at the time. And Ross, obviously, played for Team GB and Scottish International, done really well too. So that was a long time ago. And I think I've had a lot of questions over the years about, which you've already answered to some degree, about how do you pick the university? And at the time when I went to a small Division 2 university for 2 years before I transferred to Division 1, and there wasn't a lot of options. Now there's a lot more scope and options, but getting the right university that fits, I think, your personality, your profile in terms of who you are as an individual, your standard, both academically and also tennis, getting the right coach. And I love what you said about the feel of the campus as well. You have to be able to fit in. If you're a person who's a little bit of an introvert, you're quite quiet and shy, there's no point going to a campus with like 250,000 people.
Exactly.
You just get lost. So there's a lot of variables to take on board. What was the real big appeal in terms of you going purely to Dartmouth? Because I'm sure you had a lot of different offers.
Yeah, well, I think the reason I said you were a trendsetter, and that wasn't me saying you were old, it's just...
By the way, if Ralph Lauren wanted to sponsor the Chit Chat, I'm always keen for a little bit of RL.
Definitely. I think that'd be good. But the reason I said it is because for someone like me, it was a lot. I imagine when you went, you didn't have any information on colleges. And the thing with the US, when you go there are so many universities compared to the UK, and you can get swamped in all the different choices you have, different size campuses, different tennis programs,
even
and I mean,
even different religions. I can remember
yeah,
some schools who were just obviously Latter-day Saints, Southern Baptist, Southern Methodist, that
yeah,
only did that type of religion. You could go to that university. So yeah, you're right. There's such a wide
exactly.
variety.
Huge variety. I mean, America is huge. You don't really realize it until you go there and travel. We would fly to matches, you know, 4 or 5 hour flight to go to a match. You can't really comprehend that in the UK. But I think for me, what was important when I went there was narrowing down the field straight away. So I knew I wanted to go somewhere quite academic, because that would, the Ivy League where I ended up going automatically excludes quite a lot of players, and I knew I had to make the most of my academics in order to get the best tennis program. So for me, it was a bit of balancing between academics and tennis. If you just go for tennis, you can literally get swamped, and there's so many places that offer good programs, as I'm sure that's when you went. I mean, I don't know where you begin to start with that sort of process of choosing a tennis program.
I got really lucky. I met a guy from California when I was 14 playing a tournament, a guy called Paul Cross from Claremont in California. And Paul just went, Graham, I played doubles with him, a couple of age groups up, and he was just about to go to university, and he was telling me all about it. He said, I would love it. You know, they'd love my personality and how feisty I was on the court. And I was at 14, I was thinking, can I do that? And you're right, there was nothing out there. And Sue Mappin, who I ended up doing some work for Sue with the Tennis Foundation years later.
Yeah.
Sue helped my parents in terms of getting me a position and getting me I guess the information that they needed to go through the financial forms, you know, getting your visas to the States and all of that kind of stuff too, which was so difficult for my parents to actually go through that without, you know, the opportunity of having the internet and, you know, the Zooms with the coaches
Definitely.
that you can have now. But yeah, I love my 4 years there as well. It was brilliant. But you pick the wrong college, wrong state. And then, you know, and I've seen a lot of people who've come back over the years because they just haven't been smart with their choice.
Yeah, and it sounds like you were quite smart about who you talked to before you went there, which is important. I mean, I went to visit. I was lucky enough to visit. So I should mention I was on a program called the Sutton Trust US Schools Program. So it's part of Fulbright, and they each year they pick. Well, when I went, it was 150 state school students. We went to stay at Yale for the week. And they basically help you out. You visit loads of different colleges when you're there, see the application process, how that works. I mean, I was on the Sutton Trust program my whole year before I went to the US. So they help you with SATs, SAT subject tests, all of those things. The common application is a big academic application to go through. But also with emailing coaches, the Sutton Trust were a huge help for me. I didn't go through an agency or anything like that, but they were the ones who kind of drove my choices and helped me decide. I mean, I didn't even know what Ivy League was before I applied. So, so literally things like that. Just any help was huge. So yeah, that was. I forgot to mention that the Sutton Trust really helped me with choosing Dartmouth, and then for me it was just choosing the right tennis program of the schools that I selected, and Dartmouth, the coach was great at Dartmouth. He was and the assistant coach, and then just the players who were there, I really got on well with, and it was quite an easy fit. When I talk about the fit of the campus, a bit like Durham as well. It's the small town feel, which I really liked. The dining halls, the food, all of those things add up.
I had a picture flash from Utah the other day in terms of my campus, and I was like, wow, what a beautiful campus that was. And you know, at my age now, I can look back and go, well, it was a beautiful campus. You know, at the time it was more feel and the fact that could I fit in coming from the northeast of England and going 5,000 miles to a place where, you know, I'd never been before. So taking all those variables into consideration, I think it's tough to then go and then perform, which is what we have to do, by the way. That's your job, isn't it? You have to go and perform academically, so in order to stay eligible to play. But you also need to perform at a high level. You know, the tennis over there it's probably a lot tougher now than it was when I went, because there's so many more players. The depth is probably to a much higher standard. But at the time, you know, you can only measure yourself on that time zone that you're there. And I can remember it being really tough and playing some great matches against people who ended up being ranked top 100 in the world, and, you know, and having battles on court with them, learning to swear in different languages so you didn't get code violations.
Always useful, yeah.
Always useful. So the external knowledge you get and the experiences you get, I just don't think you can buy that.
I completely agree. Yeah, it is invaluable. I mean, living in a different country for a start is huge.
Yeah.
You just learn. So when you go at 18, straight from school, and then go to a different country and you're on your own, you learn quickly, and that's really important. But yeah, as you say, just the people you meet, the different nationalities. I mean, my team was always at least half internationals.
Yeah.
Colombia, Lithuania, Australia, like literally all over the world. And then yeah, I think the main thing, as you said, is the training and the matches you play, and just how organized everything is, and the places you travel to for the matches, and everything like that is just so important for building a good experience. And America is unbelievable for that. And it sounds like you're in Utah, so you were even further out than I was. I was in New Hampshire, so yeah. I was actually quite close to England relatively, but even so, yeah, it was
well, my first 2 years were in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think back, if I could go back and tell myself anything in terms of the experience I got, was, without stereotyping Northeast men playing tennis, by the way, which is also quite rare, is my top tips were: 1, find yourself a roommate who has a car. Absolute bonus.
Always useful. Yeah.
I had a guy called Mike Likens who literally just dropped it. He had a set of keys cut and dropped them on the side of the counter, and just went, "Graham, when I'm in class, or if you need them, just take my keys." I was like, this is nice.
That's a dream come true, yeah.
Second of all, get a girlfriend who knows how to do laundry.
Yeah.
Because as an 18-year-old boy, you do not know how to wash your own clothes.
That's where I went wrong, yeah.
And I guess the third one is maybe be a little bit more, for me, be a bit more open to, you know, the different cultures, the different people around, and really engage in. And what I have done in terms of my cultural anthropology is really take, you know, people from where they're from, their religion, their backgrounds, their historical aspects, and embrace it. Really take it on board, embrace it, and learn.
Definitely, yeah. I think, I mean, the best way of doing that is actually going to the country to visit them, which is obviously the ultimate. But I mean, that's one of the advantages of having teammates who are international from different countries. If you can get the chance to visit, but I mean, obviously, if you don't, you can still learn a lot from them, as you say, and you just get a feel for their culture just by being with them. But I mean, I've been to Portugal, Croatia, a couple of other places I can't think of off the top of my head, just because my teammates live there, from there, and I'm, you know, best friends with them from being on the team with them. So I mean, again, that's so important, and such a good experience to have people like that around you all the time.
Yeah, we're 30 years down the line, and I'm still talking to some of my friends in Tennessee, even though they're both, the two guys who I speak to quite regularly are both Trump fans.
Oh, yeah.
You can imagine.
Maybe keep that quiet. Give them a couple of months, yeah.
Absolutely. So then again, you followed the same path I did, and you came back, and my reason to come back was I had a really bad shoulder issue, which ended up having 2 major shoulder ops. Wasn't sure of my options, so came back and went to that university down the road. With that,
we don't talk about that one.
We're like Harry
Potter.
Purple. We don't talk about that name. And did my masters there. So you came Durham. Why did you choose Durham?
Yeah. So yes, same path as you. For me, it was, I definitely wasn't ready to stop playing tennis, 100%. And the one thing in America that didn't quite work out for me, I wanted to play more matches. I ended up being on the Ivy League, turned into one of the best conferences in the country when I was there. And my team, I mean, my senior year, we won Ivy League, we won the regional title, made the NCAA tournament. I think we finished something like 29th or top 30, got to 14th in the country. So being part of that was incredible. I mean, all 4 years I was there, we were ranked at least top 50, top 60. But what was frustrating for me is we had a big squad, 12 guys, 10, 12 guys, and with massive depth. So that between the 4th guy to about the 10th guy, there was nothing in it. So I didn't play as many matches as I would have liked to, even though I absolutely loved my teammates, never felt bitter, loved the coaches. Training was incredible. So I improved a lot, but I wasn't ready to stop competing. And I'm sure I know you're very competitive as well, Graham. So that might have had something to do with you coming back as well. But Durham definitely gave me the option of, I knew I would play every week. I knew I'd have really good training still. Getting my masters is also quite important. And the fact that I can do my masters while getting my tuition paid for and still getting great training and good quality matches, it was a no-brainer for me, really. And here I am still going.
Yeah, and yeah, I guess you have to think is that Durham's a top 100 university in the world. It's a beautiful place and in a beautiful part of the world, and I'm saying that not only because I live in the northeast of England. I was born and bred here, even though I lived abroad for over 10 years and worked and played internationally. I still class Durham as home, and it is a beautiful place to be around, and the cathedral and the people are fab. It gets a bit cold and grey and miserable and windy.
Yeah.
And we don't have all of the indoor facilities of a Division 1 university. But it still offers something special, doesn't it, Paul? And you've come in not only as a postgrad to obviously play and to fulfill your role in terms of the academics, but also, you've had a job position within Durham as well, haven't you? Tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, so I've been really lucky. So I came to my part-time masters over 2 years. So my first year I was just a student and then playing tennis like every other postgrad who comes here to do their masters and play tennis. But my second year, so last year, I became a tennis coordinator. So most universities, definitely the big universities, have a coordinator for their tennis program, who organizes kind of court bookings, pre-season, travel, hotels, and basically acts as the manager of the tennis program. Meets with you at the start of the year and like fairly regularly throughout the year, and just kind of keeps the program ticking over and organizing things. And then Adam, the coach, runs the session still. But yeah, I took that role on last year. Absolutely loved it because I was still a student, a very part-time student, but I was still a student. But also had a full-time job, which I really enjoyed, half of which is driving, as I mentioned to you earlier, driving to training and training myself. So I still get to play and compete whilst also getting good work experience at Team Durham with Mark Bryan and Quentin and you. And I'm still doing that this year, partly because I really enjoyed doing the job, partly because of coronavirus is, restricting other options. But yeah, it's been a really nice progression for me, and it's been absolutely perfect since the US.
And certainly one of the most dedicated postgrad coaches I've ever seen, walking on Maiden Castle on those courts during winter time. And I've got hoodie on, I've got scarf on, gloves on, and I'd be like, "Oh, Midge, how you doing?" Instead of grinding them out. There we go.
That was the bright spot of my session when you walked past.
Yeah, don't let any of your students know that.
Well, it has to, unfortunately, I have indoor courts at Durham. So part of especially my first year, I was just doing some extra individual coaching with the students. And then last year, and to a lesser extent this year, I do some outdoor coaching, sometimes with the development squad, just students who aren't quite in the Bucks teams but want to still play weekly. sometimes individual, sometimes group sessions. So again, that's actually been quite a big part of my time at Durham, doing some coaching, which I never really had my level 1, but I've never really done much individual coaching. So I think Durham has been great for me and for having quite a few different roles, different jobs, meeting different people as well within the sports centre, Maiden Castle and tennis, and yeah, really just kind of taking on lots of different things while still training myself and playing matches. So that's what really appealed to me when I came, and that's what, you know, it's been really good for me.
And I hope you've liked it, and I'm assuming you have, because you brought a few of your network with you over the last couple of years, which has been really beneficial for the team, and some great players and introducing them to Durham. Yeah. If I'm in the States right now and I'm coming to the end of my undergrad and I want to continue to play, but I don't necessarily want to play in the States. If you were going to sell Durham to a really good tennis player, because we win a lot at Durham, it's been part of the culture that we've developed especially over the last 7-8 years that I've been there. And we bring in great players. We have a really strong culture. As everybody, you don't always get it right. You don't always get the right players in. We don't always get the culture 100%, but we continue to try to work hard to make sure it's better. It's not NCAA, so you don't get 500 pairs of Babolat trainers and rackets every week. You know, so you don't fly everywhere for tournaments. You know, you can't have 10-day spring break in Hawaii.
Yeah, unfortunately not. I would take that back any day, but yeah.
So how are you going to sell me the Durham program to come as a postgrad and spend 1 or 2 years at Durham University and continue to play tennis?
Yeah, so I think you hit the nail on the head there with it's not America, and we're not trying to be America here in the UK with the university system. I think the reason why it has other advantages to the US, for me, it's been a really nice transition from the US, where you, as you said, you get everything paid for, you get everything effectively given to you on a plate. Talking of laundry, I had my laundry done for me at Dartmouth, so that's how spoiled I was. But at Durham, you have to work a bit more for it. I think you have to be a bit more self-motivated. But the flip side of that is very rewarding. So you're effectively, you're living independently. You kind of, a bit more effort to get to training and to 7 a.m.s before lectures and things like that. But when you get there, the training's really high quality. I mean, every single year we have usually a guy who's top 500 ATP. Each year I've been here, we've had, I think, 350 in the world last year, 500 and something this year. Andy Watson, 540, I think he was. And then probably 4 or 5 guys who have all got professional ranking points. And then the same with the girls as well. I mean, usually our top 8 players, maybe even top 10, have all played college, or they're good undergrads who are high ranked in Britain. So the advantage to coming here, either if it's after the US, you get to continue playing at a high level, in what would be the closest you can get to the level of college tennis. Or if you're an undergrad, it's also a great option because Durham provides something a bit different. You can balance your academics well with the tennis. You still get really high quality training, guaranteed matches every week, which you don't get in the US. And then the last point I would mention is that each year, for example, this year we have 2 guys, Josep and Henry, who were on the team last year, they did their masters the year just gone at Durham and have now gone full time. So it's a really good base. My girlfriend also, Gabby, is on the team here, and she's trying to use Durham as a base to go and play some tournaments and play some professional tournaments. So all of those things I think are quite rewarding and make Durham a good option. If you want to go into the Pro Tour, or if you're coming from America and don't want to stop playing, Durham's a really nice place to come.
Yeah, and as we mentioned, you're going to get a degree for our masters from a top 100 university in the world, and you get to visit for a small period of time. If it's a 1-year master's, you're here for 6-7 months. You get to see a different part of the world you may not ever get the opportunity to go and see again. So I've always said, if an offer comes out, why would you not take it? Because that will only make you a better person somewhere down the line.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, you said it perfectly. Durham is such a nice place to be. I'm talking mainly from tennis terms, but I absolutely love, I mean, Castle Cathedral, on a day like today, it's sunny outside, the river, I mean, it's a really nice town. Academically, as you said, really high up university, high in the rankings, great teaching. And yeah, you get a master's in a year or 2 years if you choose, while doing all the things I mentioned with the tennis program. So
And if
yeah,
you're not in the
no
tennis
brainer.
program and you're one of our other students who are here for like 5 years, 6 years doing a PhD, then yeah, that's a long time to stay here, isn't it?
You can really stretch it out.
Yeah.
I'm pushing it now.
All right, so Midge, great having a chat with you. So we've got your pathway to Durham. You know, you've got, I think somebody said the other day that on average you lived to 81.5 years in this country. So you've still got a lot of years to kind of, you know, grind them out from the baseline.
Fingers crossed.
You just got a big monster serve. You just bang them in there, don't you?
Exactly, serve beforehand.
Points, yeah. So what's your plans going forward? So obviously you've still got some time left at Durham. You know, where do you see yourself? What do you want to do? What's your ambitions?
Yeah, so I'm currently writing some tennis articles for a website called Tennis Head. It's all online, but it's the world's most popular tennis magazine as well. So I've just started writing articles for them, and they get published on the website. Usually about the top players, so Federer, Nadal, Serena, you know, the top ones. But I'm also wrote quite a few about the doubles players like Joe Salisbury at the ATP finals. So I'm definitely interested in that line of work. I think ultimately I would like to go into some sort of tennis management position, or I still want to be involved in tennis in some way. And yeah, I'm sure you probably gathered from this conversation, I really like tennis and want to stay involved in it. And that's why Durham, this job, the tennis coordinator, has been really good for me, because it's actually a good career preparation job, hopefully. So I've got two things I really, you know, I'm pushing towards: the tennis writing, the journalism, but also if I can get into without mentioning names of organizations, but the tennis administration management world, that's something I would be looking to do. Yeah.
Yeah, apart from Ralph Lauren, who are obviously going to be sponsoring us shortly, I don't mind if you want to mention who you would like to go and work for.
So, Ralph Lauren would be great. Yeah, I mean, surely they'll see this and get involved immediately.
Yeah, let's pick some old guy who used to play tennis
Durham and Cleveland sponsored by Ralph Lauren next year. Yeah.
Can you imagine? Durham and Cleveland, since I've been men's captain, I was writing the other day a little article about the fact that it's 34 years since I made my debut as a player. And obviously I've played and coached and captained. And I look back and we've had one county tracksuit. One sponsored county.
No way.
And it was the worst one ever. It was a thick K-Swiss one. It was like the worst material. And what was worse than that, it had Newcastle Brown Ale on as well.
Oh no!
And can you imagine Durham and Cleveland boys with a tracksuit like that?
For the Sunderland fans, that's the worst possible sponsor. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think Ralph Lauren then.
I think Barra used it for his barbecue in the backyard.
I bet. Yeah. Well, yeah, no, just to answer your question, I think, I mean, the LTA, I'd really like to go into the LTA or the ITF or one of the big tennis federations. The LTA obviously being the main British organization. But I have friends who work at the ATP and ITF as well. So that would be great if I could get into one of those. Also love being in the university system as well. So I definitely wouldn't rule, you know, a different university, hopefully roll out. I mean, I love Durham, but I think this is, as I said, I already stretched it out quite a lot. So a change probably after this, yeah.
And Paul, I'll tell you what we'll do as well is we'll put one of your articles on the bottom of this when we share this on YouTube. And we'll put your social media contacts on there. So if anybody's interested in looking for somebody who wants to take on board a sports manager or a tennis manager or wants some articles written, then, you know, they can click on the link and let's hopefully somebody picks it up. Because I read one of your last articles on one of the top players. I'm trying to think who it was now. And I was kind of like, I don't read tennis articles. I've read like 5 billion over the years. And I read the whole thing. I thought, Nice. I like that.
Thank you, Graham. Thank you. Yeah, that'd be much appreciated. But yeah, the point in the articles, they're quite short and sharp.
Yeah.
Usually try and get some quotes in, so it's not just me spouting my opinions left, right, and centre. So yeah, if anyone, that'd be really good if I could get my, an article up, and if anyone fancies some quick, interesting reads, and Tennis Head is the place to be. I'm glad you've read some.
Commission you with £0 to write some on Durham and Cleveland's County Week stories.
Oh, okay. I'll do my best. I'm not sure that will make the cut. I'm not sure Barra will be newsworthy, but I'll do my best.
Listen, you've done a great job at Durham. You followed on for some fab people who've been in your role. Izzy Henshaw, Johnny Bynum have done some great work over the 7-8 years I've been there. You've always been great in terms of trying to get the right culture and having the right values and the right vision for what you want to achieve as well. I'm sure you'll have great success going forward. Thanks for this little chit chat. I will, in terms of making sure that we put your details on the bottom as well. And if you could share with all your friends, that'll be great. But good luck, and hopefully we'll catch up in Maiden Castle soon.
Definitely. Thanks a lot, Graham. Really appreciate it. And yeah, really enjoyed the chat. So hopefully see you soon, and we'll catch up properly.
Cheers, Midge.
Thanks a lot, Graham.